Like many of you, I saw the latest version of Diary of a CEO, or I should probably be calling it now Diary of a Clickbait. Once again, it's somebody coming on, making you scared, making you nervous, and it's just the same with all podcasts. In this video, I'm going to break down why podcasts, and probably videos like this, they won't save your investing skills and your investing ability. Remember, my opinion, I've always got to put that in there, always. Look, this is the problem. Most investors consume loads of knowledge. Let's say, for example, it's Saturday. You've got the day free. Oh, I'm going to learn about investing. I'm going to learn more stuff. Okay, let's go through 10 podcasts. Waste of time. Complete waste of time. You're better off, watching one podcast than trying to apply, the rest. Let's say one podcast is 1 hour. You watch one podcast, then spending 9 hours applying those skills. And first of all, ask yourself, does that resonate with what I'm trying to achieve? Remember, that's what you've always got to ask. So information without judgment is useless. They could be saying all these data points like stocks the most overbought they've been in the US, which is true. The data does say that. But how do you act upon that? If you don't know how to act upon that, what's the point in knowing it? If you're not, it's almost like if you can have an opinion on something and you're not going to make money, what's the point? Really, like there's so many people at the minute I'm seeing Bitcoin's bearish, Bitcoin's down, Bitcoin's doomed. Are you making money on it? If you don't invest in it, why do you really care? Why do you have an opinion? And it's that confidence trap. You're going to start to reel off loads of stats, loads of facts, loads of figures. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because you're just borrowing someone else's opinion and you're not building that process. It's so important to have your own process. What do I want to get out of investing? Do I want to retire early? Do I want to go on an extra holiday? Do I want to have a better Christmas? What are you trying to actually build? Because consuming so much content is not going to actually give you the foundation. It's just going to give you loads and loads of knowledge and loads of stuff. And yeah, it's just a waste of time at the end of the day. So podcasts give you information, not judgment. So there's a difference between knowing what is happening and knowing what to do about it. So, the Fed does something or Kevin Walsh comes in, he's hawkish. What are you going to do about it? If you're just like, oh, Kevin Walsh is hawkish, then it's like, yeah, what are you going to do? It's like, oh, I don't know. Right? It is pointless, right? Judgment is what turns information into action. If you have a process, it's like, right, if this happens, I do this because of X, Y, Z reason, right? Podcasts will just be giving you loads and loads of information. You're like, what the hell do I do here, right? Doesn't matter. Judgment comes from having the process and not the playlist, right? You can have the podcast playlist with all of them. The Iced Coffee Hour. You can have Prof G Markets. You can have Dive a CEO. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's not going to make you a better investor. Yes, it's good to know it, and you can use stuff from those podcasts and apply it. But you don't want to get into the habit of just listening, okay, that was interesting. Oh, click on the next one, then so on and so forth. You want to be listening to something. Okay, cool. I just listened to a 30-minute, hour-long podcast. Can I apply anything from that? Because if you can't, there's almost no point. So look, you hear the same macro takes everywhere. AI bubble, US oversprawl, or, valuations are crazy. The same guests appear everywhere. As you can see, when someone has a book launch, they're going on all the podcasts. They're doing all of them. When somebody has a new product, they're going on all the podcasts. So you just hear the same, views. And what Stephen Bartlett's doing, which is quite interesting on his podcast, he's just contradicting himself. They'll have, why creatine is the best thing ever, then it's why creatine's awful. Or, if it's investing related, like why you just need to value invest and invest for the long term. Why you need to get out of the US. You're just going to be seeing these things and it's going to be confused, but the same guests tend to appear everywhere. So the same guest will be on Stephen Bartlett, he'll be on the Iced Coffee Hour, he'll be on Prof G Markets, he'll be on all of them. And look, by the time a macro review is popular, the money's already been made. Think of Nvidia. Nvidia's money was made was 2023 and 2024, really. Are you going to make those gains now on Nvidia? Yes, you might do in 30 years, but probably not in the next 2 years, right? You've got to remember that. The macro opinion, once it's consensus, there's less money to be made. And that is such an important rule. When everyone's saying one thing, okay, cool, it's probably done, right? It's probably done. The narrative changes constantly. That was the story of last week. People have such short memories. Think about it when you're in school and something bad happens. I don't know, your friend cheats on someone's girlfriend. People just forget about it 2 weeks later because another thing comes up, right? It's the same in the news. It's the same in investing. People have such short-term memories. And then if you're just constantly taking on these narratives and not actually building on what matters, which is your own process, you're just going to get left behind because you're just going to be chasing all these stories and all these investments and ultimately just getting absolutely nowhere. And as I obviously like to refer to, the charts don't lie. Price action is what money's doing. It's how I invest. It's what I talk about. Podcasts, reflects what they want you to believe. Just learn to read the chart. Learn technical analysis. For me, it's one of the easiest, most accessible investing ways. If you're somebody who wants to get into investing, you've got a job, you're earning income, but okay, cool, I've got a bit of money saved every month. For me, technical analysis is an easy way of doing it. Podcast guests have an agenda, a book, a fund, a newsletter, a course, a brand. I have an agenda. Technical analysis is like my agenda. I think it's better than many other ways of investing. I think financial markets are better than real estate, right? That's my agenda. I'm pushing that agenda in this video. And you've got to be aware of that when you listen to these podcasts. And they usually already have a position. Like the guy on Diary of a CEO, he mentioned, I'm bearish, US stocks. Well, and then it's all, you can't, he's not going to then say, yeah, I'm bearish US stocks and I sold half of them a year ago, or I'm bearish US stocks, but I haven't sold any yet. They're not going to reveal their position, but they typically already have a position. You see it with the influencers and the crypto coins. Oh, this coin's going to the moon. They've just been told to shut it online. And it's the same with these, and you've got to have that assumption anyway, right? People are going to come onto these shows, they're going to talk about, I'm bullish this, I'm bearish that, and you've just got to find a way to kind of dissect that opinion into your own way. And look, they are never wrong in hindsight. Podcast guests are experts. Because they're on a big podcast, you automatically look at them as like status. And it's like, wow, oh my God. When they're just talking to you on a small YouTube channel, you think, wow, he knows something I don't know. When truth is, they probably just know as much as you about that one thing. But they've been doing it for a few years and they can say some fancy words. So yeah, look, they're experts explaining, why they're right or why it's misunderstood. But, you kind of just got to maybe focus on your own thing. And you can't ask follow-up questions. The podcast person, I think Diary CEO, it was revealed that they pre-prepare a lot of the stuff well in advance. So they're going to maybe say something and the follow-up wouldn't be something you're screaming at, the screen, and you can't just send them an email they're going to reply to, right? So it's a one-way thing. Narratives are controlled in podcasts. That's definitely something you've got to remember. What to do instead? You've got to spend less time consuming, spend more time building a process you can repeat, and it could be any way. For me, it's technical analysis. For you, it could be fundamental analysis. It could be just, I'm going to dollar cost average into global ETFs for the rest of my life. That could be it, right? You've just got to build rules and then just keep applying it. Use opinions as context, but don't act. So if someone says, oh, AI is just getting started, then don't be that guy who's just piling money into AI stocks, if that's a thing, right? So track your decisions and not listening. Remember, track what you're doing daily. Track what you're listening to. Like, listen to these podcasts. Record it down. There may be a common theme which actually could be useful, but a lot of stuff probably is to, disregard. You need to be always consciously thinking about it. So the moral of the story is just stop consuming and start building. So the verdict, you don't need more judgment. You don't need more information. You need better judgment. Podcasts are entertainment with a financial wrapper. They convince you you're doing work, I'm going to shove on this podcast while I'm cooking, or I'm going to do that. Maybe it's a good time when you're in the car, you're not going to do anything else, maybe better than music, wherever it may be. It's not work at the end of the day. It's not work. For you doing work, it's finding out about your process that you can apply consistently. They tell you what to hear. News changes. Remember, people have short-term memories. The story last week, there'll be a new story next week, and it will keep on going. Remember the thing you're in school. When you're in school, something happens. Oh, my life's over. My life, blah, blah, blah. And then you just fight your way through it a week later. And obviously, when you get older, you get more used to that, right? So look, that's it for the video, really. Wanted to come on and just explain. Stop watching videos like this and start working. Thank you very much for watching. I do have a newsletter, so if you do want to, consume mindlessly, maybe my way is doing it. Who knows? I'll see you in the next one.